And he asked, should I stop? And they told him, no, it needs to be continued even more. However, by Hey Tevis, so in other words, Yutis Kislev is about the oil, the light, Teres Achsidis. But Hey Tevis was about the moil, the essence, the luminary itself. That's what was all about. One of the things that the Rebbe was screaming about in Tafshin Mem, one of the bases that he mentioned, that he thinks that there was a Levaya from the previous Rebbe, and that's it, and it's over. And therefore he could come and do whatever he wants with the belongings and things like this. And that's something that bothered the Rebbe very much. And that's what he talked about those weeks. And that comes as a result. Who are we to understand all these things? But the only thing we know what the Rebbe told us, that all this was connected with a kitul. And therefore that was a kitul on the moel itself. So therefore when it was the Didan Natzach on Hey Tevis, that's what the celebration is. So l'chaim, we should be able to connect with the Rebbe. And I want to bring out another interesting point that it's interesting, a lot of these siches, because the Rebbe will talk about the Frierdiker Rebbe, so he spoke about Yud Beis Tammuz. So in Yud Beis Tammuz, Tafshin Yud Daled, in that same Likutei Siches in the back, there's these siches. So when he talks about his kashrus, the Rebbe brings out that his kashrus has to be where he takes every point, every avenue. He starts with, it has to be, in other words, and that's what I'm saying, you could scream and talk about gaguim and yearning and we love the Rebbe and all this is fine and good, but then it has to come down in Maaseh B'Poel. And the Maaseh B'Poel is that our hiskashus is in machshava, the Rebbe says there, in dibur and Maaseh. Koyach HaMachshava, that we should think in all the things of the Rebbe. And dibur, we should learn all the Rebbe's things. And Maaseh, we should do all the Rebbe's heilas. And the Rebbe doesn't stop. And the Rebbe continues and says the same thing in midos, the same thing in seichel, in our emotions, in our intellect. All that has to connect. In other words, when we do all these things, then it's a full iskashrus. It's not just in one point. It's in everything. In that sikha happens to be, the Rebbe gives a little bit of, I'm not going to say a way out, who are we to say these words, but he says, if someone it's hard for him to do all these things, then he should do tzedakah and support the Rebbe's moistus, because when he gives tzedakah, this is chayin afshay, as it says in Tanya. But the iskashrus has to come down in all the levels. So l'chaim, that we should be able, at least as a achlot teva from today, we're able to be meisiv in learning in Teras, in the Rebbe's Torah. It happens to be there's something out there that I'm sure you all know. There's the project called Project Likutei Siches. That's something very special. And it's basically 2 siches a week where you join many people of learning these siches, unbelievable, gaining, finding out the Rebbe's Torah. I have a kriyas with an individual by me, not necessarily as a shaykhs, then he can start to learn over a year ago. It's unbelievable. Every week we learn a secret of the Rebbe. It should help that we should be able to bring all these things down to us in our hearts. Beficha, bilvavcha, lachseisei, l'chaim, l'chaim.
Recording in progress. that Rabbi Raskin finished, it's over. He's going to continue. We'll sing a Ligen, then we'll continue with the Fabringen, and we'll mamshich.
Whoever did not marry, you make a million in the back. For those who did not marry,
Okay, as we said before, we want, one of the Yonim the Fabringen is also that some Chevra who do in Hakel should share what they do in Hakel and how is it Matzliach. So we're gonna ask Rabbi Barak Chitzroni, who is the chaplain at the Jewish hospital, and he is very involved in the Yonim of Hakel in the hospital. So we'd like to ask him to say a little bit of what he does. This is a Fabringen.
So, for those of you who know, there is something called MAID. You send by the center, I'll send on the seat. It's a Fabringen. So, something here in Canada that is called MAID. It's not someone that comes to help you at night. or during the day. MAID is the abbreviation for medical assistance in dying. And sadly, it's something that grows more and more. Yesterday, I was called to see a patient that decided, that he would like to have a maid. And the government is doing this chesed, such a chesed ha'ne'elam, a great kind of kindness, to such an extent that the doctor is prohibited from writing the cause of death. Meaning, it has to be something else with the heart, they need to put something else. But they can't write that it's maid, probably because they want to be such a tzaddikim nistarim that no one will know about the great chesed that they're doing with people, with maid. And one of the staff members called and asked me, please, can you come and try to convince this individual that he won't go through this process? Meaning, he wants to get a shot and that's it. He still has enough time to live, definitely for a few more weeks. And Baruch Hashem, it was successful. Soon, later I'll get to the point. Another story was on Friday. Friday, around noontime, I get a call from one of the emergency room doctors. He tells me, Rabbi, there is a patient here. I was debating whether I should call you or not. I know that it's Hanukkah. I believe I'm sure that it's busy. And but he wanted to see you. And it's not the first time that he asked to see the rabbi. I feel uncomfortable because it's a psych patient. I don't know whether I should, disturb you or not. I told you no problem. I told him no problem. I'll come a bit later, but I'll come. Happens to be so that I completely forgot to go to see this patient. It was a very busy Friday in the hospital. Mamash came back home, Mamash within the 18 minutes. And only when I went to sleep at 11 p.m., I realized, okay, I completely forgot about this guy, this poor guy. I said, okay, tomorrow, after davening, after Shachris, I'll visit this guy. But before I went to Shachris, I got paged from the hospital for a dying patient, another patient. So I went to see him, I did whatever had to be done with him. Then I said, you know what, I already missed Shachris, I already missed the minyan. I'll go to emergency room, I'll go to visit this guy now. So I'm standing in the entrance of emergency room, and in emergency room when you enter, a few doors, but two main ones. One is on the right side, where we have a fridge. We can take, I said I'll bring him some grape juice for Kiddush and some mezenas and so on. There's another entrance that is really to the emergency room. Now, if I just need to get the mezenas and the grape juice, it's literally a meter away from me. Where if I need to use the other doors, it's a whole round. So I'm waiting there. Usually it takes 10-15 minutes until a patient goes in or goes out. I'm standing there and standing, and for some odd reason, the doors of the main entrance are open and close. They open and they close. They open and they close. Said, you know what? It took me some time. I realized that maybe HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants me to do the other way. I went to the other way around, and I met over there, the other side, complete other side, a couple. Eden, the husband was there with the book. I asked him, I said, Shabbos, you need anything? Is there anything I can help you with? You know that there's a fridge here. So I told you, oh really? Can you show me? And just as before I left, he tells me, listen, Rabbi, we're here for not such a positive scenario. And he asked a specific question that he needed an answer there at that moment. And it was something that would be irreversible. And I told the doctor, later I went to see the other patient, and I told the doctor, look, you probably called me because you wanted me to see this patient, and then eventually I really did. But really, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted me to see someone else, or at least as a part of his plan. That's the second story. Soon I'll connect the dots. Another story that I had about a month ago, also from emergency room, a doctor calls me and he tells me, listen, there's a guy here, he's 87 years old, his name is, I don't know, something Greek, a Greek name, and when he saw me with the yarmulke, he told me, I started talking to him, and he mentioned something that he's a Jew, or he was a Jew, or something like that. He told me, in case you have time, come to visit him. And it ended up being that this Jew His family was killed in the Holocaust. They lived in Greece, and their neighbors took him as a 3 years old, and his brother 5 years old. Their Christian neighbors took them, and they grew them up as Christians. And at the age of 87 was the first time that he put on tefillin, that day. The concept is not that. The concept that all those cases got to me in strange ways because of Hakel events that took place in the hospital. Whether it was classes that for some reason after Tisha people have more time to learn, or the minyan that Baruch Hashem resumed from also Baruch Hashem Mamash after Tisha. It was pretty much the same time, same hours, same staff, same everything. But after Tisha there was a certain siyata d'shmaya from Hakel. So we're talking about the Torah classes, learning simply with staff, doing the minyanim that we have over there. For example, the case yesterday with the medical assistants in dying, that also yesterday Baruch Hashem was praying.